It's January 20th, and I'm standing outside Mount Orab's village building in their council chambers, where they just had their meeting talking about the mega site. First off, it was absolutely ridiculous to have it in here, and it's clear that pretty much all the council members, except maybe the mayor, but he seemed to be being forced along, were apologetic about it and want to get something done at another bigger location where the community can get inside. The place was packed, the room was full. There were about 30, 40 people in the hallway. I did not come outside, but I was told there was a significant number of people. I heard numbers as high as 70, 80 people out in the parking lot in the freezing cold, I guess listening to the live stream. So I believe there's going to be another meeting, a special meeting just on the mega site on January 27th. There was a motion made, I believe it was January 27th. Now, what I'm going to focus on though is the speakers that talked and a couple of the council members. So I'm going to play excerpts of each of the speakers in particular. And then I'm going to come back and talk about the council members that really I thought were standout. So Michael Latour was the first speaker. I got a chance to meet Michael, seems like a great guy. Talked about a petition, 1,700 people trying to get involved in this, and about open government. Let's listen to Michael.
Good evening. My name is Michael Latour. I'm going to speak plainly tonight because what happens here matters. In the span of 10 days, more than 1,700 people joined together in this community. More than 850 signed petitions asking for transparency and a pause to what is planned at the mega site. This does not happen casually. It happens when people feel ignored. The petition is not symbolic. It is a clear message. The question tonight is simple. Are you listening to your own people? I want to address something that speaks directly to that question. This meeting, despite knowing the level of public interest, was intentionally kept in a room that cannot accommodate the community. Requests were made to move it. Even a council member requested a larger venue. That request was declined. As a result, residents are standing outside in sub-freezing temperatures trying to participate in the most basic functions of local government. That is to be heard. So let me be clear, this is not how trust is built. The petition I helped organize reflects a community asking for answers, not rumors or speculation, but answers about zoning changes, infrastructure capacity, public notice, and the long-term impacts of these decisions. We've been told non-disclosure agreements prevent discussion, but NDAs should never be used as a shield of public process, public decisions, or public consequences. So the petition I helped organize reflects a community asking for answers, not rumors, not speculation, but answers about zoning changes, infrastructure capacity, public notice, and long-term impacts. We've been told non-disclosure agreements prevent discussion, but NDA should never be used to shield public process, public decisions, or public consequences. People are not asking to control outcomes lightly. They are asking to be included before irreversible decisions are made, not after. When residents show up, sign their names, submit public records requests, and stand in the cold to attend a meeting, that is civic engagement at its highest level. If these concerns are not addressed openly, and if the public continues to be sidelined rather than engaged, people will continue to show up in greater numbers, pursue formal remedies, and insist on accountability through every lawful means necessary and available. This is an opportunity for the village to reset, to listen, and to govern with its residents rather than around them. The petition is the message, and the turnout is the message. What happens next will determine whether trust can be rebuilt or whether it will continue to erode. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The second speaker was Angela Marlowe. So she wanted some specific information about TIFs, et cetera. Let's listen to Angela.
I would like to thank everyone here allowing me the opportunity to ask some questions and state my concerns. I do have some questions I'm going to. Some of these things will be questions, and I realize in the space of time that we have here that you may not be able to answer them, but I would like to know that you would get back with me with some of these answers if possible and if allowed. Is that okay? Are we in agreement? Great. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is TIFs. I know the village has TIFs. The last time I researched the TIFs were 2017. I want to know if there's been any more TIF agreements between this village and the school since 2017, and if any of these involve any of these mega sites. TIF agreements.
New TIFs since 17?
Yes, because that's the last one I had researched, and I know lots, maybe something's went on here. And of course with that, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
We would have to, we can research that and get that information to you.
I do appreciate that,
That's not a
sir.
problem.
And,
Wait a minute, new TIFs since 2017, and what else?
well, that would also have to include the pilots, what kind of pilots went with those TIFs, or options. You guys call them options here.
Okay, we'll get you information on any
Okay.
new TIFs since 2017.
Yes, sir.
And could you also maybe, well, we can mail that to you. You got your address on the sheet there?
Well, no, I didn't write it out all the way just for my own discretion, but I will leave that personally with you guys. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
We just need some contact information to get you the information.
Okay. And I do know in 2002 is when you started the Port Authority, and at that moment it was Mount Orab Port Authority. It then changed, I think, in 22 to Southwest Ohio Regional Authority. And I know then we started doing some business outside the county, I believe, whereas mostly it was inside the county. So I would like to see, am I allowed to see how that reorganized that port to be able to distribute in a farther region than our county?
The name change, just, we simply changed the name of the Port Authority. Okay.
But it wasn't an organizational change because there it seems to be some different practices. And it's not,
We can,
yes, in Mount Orab
why
Port.
don't we do this?
Yeah.
We can, the attorney that did that, why don't I ask him, what was the effect of the name change?
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes, and also Mount Orab Port Authority is not listed amongst the state port authorities. So I don't know why that's the case. That I would like to, so I wondered if that changed to Southwest Ohio Regional Development Authority, change the scope. Okay. Next thing I wanted to discuss is financial disclosures for elected officials, bureaucracy, port authorities. Those are supposed to get turned in for each elected official once a year so that we don't have conflicts of interest, nepotism, conflicts in business dealings, etc. I'm wondering, does this council have an ordinance that makes this a practice with its elected, appointed, and bureaucratic officials?
I think the disclosures, they are governed by law.
Yes, they are, and they're supposed to be sent up, but I don't think anybody does them, sir. I don't even know if you guys have them. Okay, next is zoning. I know you guys do your own zoning here, so I assume, now you help me. I assume if you do your own zoning here that you do not go through the county to do any zoning? Or does the county, once you do the zoning here, have to approve that zoning? Does it go to the Regional Planning Commission, or is it just in-house A to B?
I'm fairly certain we have our own zoning code in the
Right.
village. Okay. And we have a planning commission in the village.
Right. So it's all pretty much in-house, that other than annexes going to the county?
I don't think the county, we have our own zoning code, so if you want a zoning permit, you apply here.
Right.
Okay?
But planning commission's
We
different.
have a planning commission
Right.
too.
So does your planning commission have to concur with the county planning commission?
No.
So they're completely independent, that's,
As far as I know, they are. Now,
okay,
I could be wrong. As far as I know, we have our own planning commission, which makes decisions, which is not governed by the county.
right. And then once those decisions are made, you send the paperwork into your recorder, auditor, GIS to get all that taken care of, because they wouldn't know if they're
Well,
not involved.
The planning commission, I think, reports to council. And council
Right.
makes its decision.
But once council makes the decision and things need to be changed on the county level, things need to go to the county. So,
It depends on what the decision was the council made.
okay. So then do you have your own in-house engineer? Do you use the counties, or do you have your own in-house
The
engineer?
village has its own engineer.
Do you know his name?
We have, gosh, we contract with several different engineers.
Michael Chandler.
Chandler? Was he the one that worked on this project?
Which project?
The mega site that everybody's here? What was the engineer on that project?
Was it Jeff Stein at that time?
Stein?
Jeff Stein, yeah.
And then my last question is about annexation. So I looked in the annexations of the land bridge that go to the mega site, and I found out these annexations were done years ago. But I never saw them on the maps. So I don't understand how they just appeared.
What maps?
Well, county GIS, county auditor, county recorder, state geospatial, because annexations have to go to the Secretary of State because it affects voter precincts.
Well, when the annexations are done, and Mike has done that, haven't you? Mike, you've taken them down to the auditor's office when the annexations are done.
Yeah, that's correct.
And those annexations, go ahead.
Then a copy is sent to the Secretary of State of Ohio.
Yeah. So,
So that tax map should have those, and they
Yeah.
should be also on the billings from the county auditor.
yeah, I
You
wasn't,
should be able to see,
I'm sorry. I'm ADHD, sorry.
yeah, you should be able to see those on the county tax bills, that they're within the village.
Right, on the county tax bill. I was just looking at the geospatial map when I'm looking at the outlines of villages and stuff. I do a lot of research. But now that I look on the wall, I can see that it looks like this mega site went over there, but that just wasn't what I was seeing on the county. So I wasn't sure if the paperwork made it so that all that could be updated for, viewers.
Well, when we do an annexation, when council passes the final ordinance of annexation, it's taken down to the map department and a copy of the ordinance is sent to the Secretary of State. Now, what they do with it after that,
Okay.
we don't control that. They do their own process.
Okay, but I do know that when you are annexing, or if the township is detaching into a village, then the township would have to do some zoning things, and of course, the village and the township would have to be involved at that point.
When we annex a parcel, part of the ordinance that annexes creates zoning for that parcel.
So the ordinance itself creates the zoning,
I'm
you're
sorry.
saying? You're saying the ordinance itself
Yes.
created the zoning? So when you decided to annex, along with that was the new zoning with
It
it?
should be in the ordinance. Now, I can't tell you, I don't have the ordinance in front of me.
Okay,
But if you go out to the office when they're open and get the annexation ordinance, it should create zoning in the ordinance itself.
so back when they annexed the piece of property for the mega site, you're saying that at that point it was probably zoned heavy industrial or whatever it is for now?
You'd have to look at the
Okay.
ordinance. I mean, I can't tell you, I don't have them in front of me.
Well, I appreciate your time.
But generally, the ordinance will have what the zoning is as it comes into the village.
Do you mind if I get those ordinances that created those land bridges,
They're public
please?
They're public records.
Can I just say it's a verbal public records at this moment? And I will give you my email address, please.
She got it.
I'll give you my email, okay?
I have to go.
You do, don't you? Are you who I'm talking to?
Yeah.
It's nice to meet you, ma'am. Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you for your time, and thank you for the
We have
answers.
2 questions. We'll get
Yes,
back
sir.
to on. TIF since 2017, and what was the effect of the name change on the Port Authority?
Yes, well, I wanted to know if the scope, first off, definitely would love to know the scope of this Port Authority, but I wanted to know if the scope changed when it changed name, because it seems like now we are investing in projects outside our county, of which kind of bothers me, because I think we have a lot of villages who even have a lot of physical infrastructure that we need to invest in, that they're just decaying, and we're focusing on other things. And yes, I think we should have had the meeting somewhere else where we could have accommodated people, but I still appreciate the ability to speak here tonight. Thank you, and thank you for being kind. That's not always the way it goes.
The third speaker was Josh Jackson. And by the way, every speaker I think did a good job. They were patient, they were polite, there was not a lot of anger or anything. But let's listen to Josh Jackson, and I believe during this one, Eric Lang, the council member who renounced his non-disclosure agreement, he also chimed in during the course of Josh Jackson speaking.
Okay, a little bit of background. I graduated from Western Brown right here in town. I work here in town. I've been working with this crew for like the past 5-6 years. I've invested plenty of my time and efforts in this area. Things that happen in this area would definitely affect my situation, my job, my work, anything of that nature.
And I'm not really coming here with like questions, just more so concerns. Things that I keep hearing about, like data centers getting thrown out, you know, just various things that these sites could entail on down the road. Data centers being a very big concern because they're known to like increase, you know, electric costs for the area, water bills for the area, and just overall, you know, costing everyone a lot more money to just occupy this area. Like I said, I've been working here for the past several years, and we just want good representation. That's our biggest concern, is just having good representation. Because like me, I'm wearing this. I got off work late, came on down here, set this into my day just so I could get in front of you and speak to all of you. We are concerned that our best interests aren't being met, and these non-disclosure agreements like bring that concern to the forefront. It's like, are we going to be represented right? Are we going to be represented as people or as numbers? That's like our big concern here. Like I said, I'm not coming here with a bunch of questions. I'm not coming here with a big written sheet or anything like that. I am taking time out of my day to tell you that we are calling to you for good representation as far as moving forward. We care about this town. I care about these people. I work with plenty of Brown County locals, Mount Orab locals, the whole nine. And we just want good representation from our officials. That's all I am coming to you with. I mean, you're hearing I hear things all the time, whispers here and there around my workplace about maybe potential corruption or anything like that. Just, we want good representation. That's all we care about you delivering. I'm not coming here with a whole lot. That's all I've got for you. You all have a good evening.
Thank you. Can I ask a comment to you real quick? So I appreciate you coming straight from work. Nobody cares how you came. The good thing is that you're here.
Yeah.
It's actually a really positive thing to see so many people in this community that want to be involved and that are concerned. You have 4 new members on this council.
Okay.
This is probably the first time this has ever happened. And I've known these people my whole life. And to be honest with you, Anna was my school teacher. Zane I grew up with, I played ball with. Shane grew up with my uncles. I mean, John's friends with my family, lives next door to me. And I went to school with Joe's daughter. And all I can say is that I truly believe that you have 4 new people coming in here that are super compassionate and are concerned with what's going on in Mount Orab. And I'll just go ahead and tell you flat out, I have the same concerns that you probably have. And that's part of the reason that I'm sitting here right now, okay? As far as the non-disclosure agreements, you have 4 people coming in, and you have a project that we had heard the first night that we came in was already underway in some shape or form. We haven't been briefed on anything, so we don't know yet what's going on. And that's, like I said, part of the reason we're here. And I've rescinded my non-disclosure agreement. I don't know if anybody else intends to, but we have, well, that's not the reason I'm saying this. I just want to explain to you. But now that I've done that, there's a bunch of gray areas. So I don't know if I'll receive a briefing on what's going on or not. It also could prevent other people from hearing what's going on. But the whole intention on that non-disclosure agreement and making the decision to sign it that night was to try to find out what was going on as soon as possible. Because I've grown up in this town, and I love Mount Orab. I know these people do too, to be honest with you. But I'm really glad that you came out tonight. I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. Okay? Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
The 4th speaker I have down was Elise Glover, and she was talking about the need to have a meeting. And during that, when she was like trying to get people to commit to have a meeting that was more open for the whole community, that's when it became clear to me that the problem in terms of holding out on being more open to the community, at least on the surface, or the biggest problem is that the mayor was the one who seemed to be not as much wanting to drink the Kool-Aid on having open, engaging meeting. So let's listen to that.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Well, I feel blindsided. That's how I am. This non-disclosure agreement, this non-transparency, I'm sure some of the new council meetings are feeling the same way. This concerns Mount Orab. It concerns Brown County residents. You have so many concerns going on that the people should have been invited to this. And the fact that we have people out there in the cold, we're trying to hear what you say, can't hear you, is not giving anybody any faith. I mean, you need to plan another meeting. People need to be heard. You need to have microphones. We need to know what it is. We need to know what's going on. This is ridiculous. And I do have a couple of other things to say. Well, are you willing to hold another meeting about this and have it at a larger venue and fix those things? And I don't mean next month, I mean soon. Work on it. Because I imagine the people out here would like to have another meeting, be able to be organized and be heard. And that isn't happening. And like I said, I don't like getting blindsided.
Elise, I think one thing that could be accommodated is we could have a committee from council appear at a location. If we have more than 3 council members, we have to have a meeting.
Okay.
Now, if you want to present information to a committee of council, okay?
Have a meeting and be transparent,
Well,
people.
what I'm saying is we could do that at another location.
We need
The high
to.
school.
It should have been done. Well, why wasn't it done already? You knew people were coming in here. There have been phone calls for a week.
The attorneys that we contacted indicated that as opposed to another location, we could live stream the meeting.
And that's going to get to everybody and not leave people out in the cold. Come on, people. That's a bad excuse and
All
a
we're
bad
doing is
reason.
We're asking our attorneys for advice on what to do, and that's the advice they get.
Okay, I can't hear you. I mean, people would like to be heard. I would like to hear from each council member that they want the people to be heard and that they want to work on those issues that I just asked for. Would you please state whether or not that's how you feel?
I don't feel any differently than anybody in this room.
Thank you.
I agree with that statement.
Thank you.
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
I definitely wanted it moved. I didn't want it in this one.
I think a larger venue would be good, and we need total transparency.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Do you want to chime in on that?
I'd say we'll look into having a meeting.
No, whether or not you are in on this transparency and it's behind that you feel that way and you want to do it.
Well, I think we ought to have input from the citizens of Mount Orab.
All right, thank you. I think that the benefits of this data center are very questionable. I question on jobs of how many it's going to bring in, what it's going to do to White Oak Creek, how much light pollution we're going to have, the noise. You have new residents that have moved into this city. They came here not for this. I can assure you they didn't come in here for this. You already discussed that. Now, I understand there's a sunshine law that council should use the law to look into the sale of land for a data center. Are you guys committed to using the sunshine law, and do you know what I'm talking about with that? Because this is rather all new to me too. But the Port of Authority is supposed to help bring things that enhance this community. That data center does not enhance this community one bit. There's people making money off of it, I'm sure, and they're getting enhanced. But as far as the citizens in this area, I don't see anybody in Brown County getting enhanced by having that data center and rammed down our throat. Not discussed, not planned, not hearing the regulations. Yeah, we are upset, and I'm sure the ones out in the cold are really doubly upset. But again, thank you for listening to me, and I will say that Mount Orab, up until this point, I've loved living here. I've given kudos to many of the people here and how this town has been run, but I'm disgusted. And if anybody wants any comment, or
Appreciate you coming up, ma'am.
thank you.
Thank you for your time.
I have down the fifth speaker was Jody Keller, and she really wasn't talking about the mega project. She was talking about zoning for the venue, but I'll go ahead and throw it in. I love the venue. The venue is a great place to have events. I've been to quite a few events at the venue. It's a nice place. But she was talking basically about the screwed up zoning and zoning getting changed without her ever getting notified. Let's listen to Jody.
My husband and I own what used to be Old Lake Theater. It's across, it's now the venue on Lake Grant. So we opened that in 2017. We became annexed into the village in 2016 as a commercial property, so we could tie into public water and sewer. Therefore, we could build a venue with the capacity that we needed. Went on, got our occupancy. I have copies of all of these. So I guess for new council members, I'm kind of taking you back through the history because previous council members have already heard this. A year ago, in February of 24, I came to the village and explained that they incorrectly, in 25, they incorrectly zoned our commercial property R1 residential. And that was done during the 2024 citywide zoning updates. I was not notified of these changes. I was not sent any certified letters. And as you can tell, being a property owner, 15 commercial acres is a lot different than 15 residential acres. And we have an established business on it. And certain things are tied to a commercial license and commercial rating on my zoning. So I asked for an update a year ago. At that time, previous councilman Jay Shaw said he would work with, I believe the company is called Choice One, to get a resolution. The map on the wall doesn't have a date. I still have not been provided anything in writing on what my zoning is. It cannot be R1 residential. So I called Mayor Hauser last week, kindly spoke to him. He said Attorney Gecky was on vacation. I waited till he got back. I spoke to him on Thursday. He said it was updated sometime in June. I don't know what to think. I don't know, was it updated in June? Did previous council vote on putting me back to commercial? I just need an update and something in writing because this holds me up from what I want to do with my property in the future.
Jody, I think it went to neighborhood business, I think in the last meeting in May. Now, we can check that ordinance. There should be an ordinance of record. Because I prepared you, I don't have a signed ordinance, but I got it in my computer.
I did a Freedom of Information request to Mayor Hauser, and the only thing I was given was, out of all my items I requested, because I'm trying to figure out if I should have been notified, was a copy of the public notice from the 24 change that was done in September of 24. And these changes were in November of
Let me give you,
24.
I think, a little bit of update. Okay. When you annex, prior to you annexing, we created the H zone, okay? And I think on your ordinance, when we annexed you, we zoned you as H, okay?
No, that was done in 2017, after we started construction, when we turned in plans.
but that's
When we initially annexed into the village, because that property was never part of the village. That was Pike Township that we moved into the village.
When did you annex?
In 2016, when we purchased
Right.
the property.
Okay. What I'm saying is, prior to that, we created the H zoning.
No.
No?
No, it was first commercial,
No, it's
and then we annexed in as commercial from
okay.
Pike, and
From
then
Pike
we
Township.
added special use H under ordinance 1154 for the other things I would like to use the property potentially for.
Here's we can get you a copy. This is the May 20th, 2025 ordinance.
Yes,
That's where you are now zoned as neighborhood business district. So this went into effect in May.
I was never notified. When you change someone's zoning, aren't you supposed to send them a letter of that you've
I'm just
changed
telling
their
you,
zoning?
That's what council passed in May.
Can I please have a copy of this?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Thank you. If I need to appeal whatever was given to me, what is the process for that? Who do I contact? The planning commission, the zoning department? Because I don't know if I was given special use H.
Well, are you talking about when you add your campground to?
Potentially.
But the problem is we were already zoned in commercial with H to do what we were doing. And things got changed when all the zoning got changed Somehow we got diverted back to R1.
This is R1. This isn't.
No, read it. It says you
So we went from commercial to R1, and then we're trying to get back to what we had, and that's where we're.
But I think the reason the village isn't possibly giving us our H
Because they don't
special
have
use
it.
is because you didn't add it in the 24 code.
Yeah.
Right.
And so I was told the attorneys weren't sure how to go about adding a new zoning into the code. So we could put you in contact with people who can put that back in if we need to file and appeal it and get it added.
I sent you an email detailing what you need to do, okay? You need to survey off what you want as H, and then apply to the village to create the H.
That's not what we had before. It wasn't two separate parcels. You're proposing that I apply and do two separate parcels
Well, you can't have,
in your email.
yeah, you can't have the venue, which is a commercial business, on your campground.
The campground zoning had a banquet hall in the middle of it. And I have this all written
Okay,
from the
what
zoning.
we're gonna have to do then is we're gonna have to research when you were annexed and what was in the annex ordinance.
Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, I have copies of it.
You got the ordinance?
Yeah, I have the draft copies that we went through with city council back then. And the signed copies of everything that was approved.
I mean, do you have the annexation ordinance?
From 2016, no, I think I have the 17 one from the campground.
I have it. I
Okay.
did digging for you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is where we establish H.
Yes. So is the village going to put H back in, or I guess you can get back to me on that. But at least I have something that says I'm commercial now, because all the maps still say we're residential.
Well, it definitely sounds like something that needs to happen because what you all are planning is a great thing for the community, in my opinion.
Thank you. Thank you.
The utilization of that lake needs to be a focal point for our
And I
community.
think it'll bring people in too.
So if there's anything I can help you with, let me know.
Thank you. I appreciate your time.
The sixth speaker was Bunny Adams Ring, talking about that this probably wasn't necessarily good for the community.
My family has been in this area for 8 generations on my dad's side, and maybe forever on my mother's side because we have Native American blood on that side. And so it's been centuries now that we've been here, and I'm sure they wanted progress. But most of us are farmers. And there's a lot of things that concerns me about farmland, especially right next to town, being turned into a data center. I know that in the past, I personally was approached by the solar panel farms and I wanted to see their contract. And when I read that contract, it's like, why would anybody want to do this to our area, to our community? And some people decided to do that against, I feel like, a better judgment. And so I'm really concerned about the toxic effects that come from data centers. Do you know if this will be discharged, the water discharged into White Oak? It seems the most convenient spot for any water to be discharged to. I would like to know if there has been any environmental studies done especially for our area, how this would affect us in particular. I personally am very concerned about all the things that I have read about what the effects from data centers are, not just on the environment, nature, but also on people, and it's right next to Beacon Hill. And some of our families have people that live in that area specifically, and that's pretty scary, I think. And so I just think for these type of projects to be put in communities is ridiculous. We need to have them not where people are. You know, when they said solar panels, I said, why aren't they in the desert? And I know that's not necessarily a good point for data centers because they need water. But I'm sure there's land that isn't going to be so endangering to people, to families, to our environment. And I just don't understand how all this could get to this point because of non-disclosure agreements. That just seems very harmful. And I think the people in this community need to know what is going on and be a part of any decisions that are made for our community. As representatives, our government representatives for this town, why aren't, well, I guess all of you have not been educated on it either.
No.
And so maybe this is how that can happen. But I'm just thankful to be able to speak my part in this. And, you know, we still need farm ground, and it's being taken up for a lot of industry. And so how are we going to feed our people? And thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you for
Then probably the most standout speaker was a woman named Christina Colgate. And she was very poignant because she talked about some of her family farm in Butler County, being taken by eminent domain that became fernulled, which is a huge environmental disaster. And she pointed out that it was probably done with a lot of NDAs, a lot of secrecy, and it had and it ended up being a total disaster, and the community probably wouldn't have been for it. She even talked about that her I guess area that her family still owned in the past, I don't know if they still own it, but their well tested positive for uranium from the fernulled site. So let's listen to her.
So hello once again, my name is Christina Colgate, and I have called Brown County home since 2012. Before moving here, my husband's family and my husband as well hailed from Ross, Ohio, part of Butler County, a place where our family even still farms today. But in 1951, everything changed. Our family farm, along with 3 others, were taken by eminent domain under the confidential deal and agreement between the county and the Department of Energy. That deal, hidden behind non-disclosure agreements and half-truths, shattered not only our land, but our health, our way of life, and the trust in those who promised to protect us. Similar to what we are facing today. We were told that it was in the name of progress and that the Fernauld Feed Materials Processing Production Center would bring jobs, home, and prosperities to the county. Officials reassured us that everything was safe, that they had considered every detail, but deep down, some people had some grave concerns, and they knew something just was not right. Those who dared to ask questions were dismissed, they were ridiculed, and told that they were standing in the way of advancement and progress. But with non-disclosures and limited community input, no one could imagine what soon would follow. Decades later, after our drinking well tested positive for uranium and other heavy metals, it led to one of the United States most talked about and still studied today, if you look at the University of Cincinnati, still studied today environmental disasters and in a classification of the top 10 most dangerous Superfund sites in all of America. Not a great statistic. People's lives were destroyed overnight. And while were destroyed overnight with the national whistleblowing headlines in the New York Times, the DOE investigations, all while home values plummeted and farmers were left with no one to sell their crops or livestock to, for the fears of contamination and possible cancer exposures. All because the community could not weigh in and truly understand and have the vote to vote on the risk. Voices were silenced, all while council members moved away to avoid the backlash and potential health implications, leaving the community to solve the contamination issue after the fact. Today I stand before you, urging you and sharing my personal story in hopes that we in Brown County will not let history repeat itself and allow governments and corporations, yes, corporations, to yet again allow another small Ohio rural community to bear the brunt of progress in the sake of our homes, our environment, and our health for nothing more than corporate profits. Many of you are new to this council. Thank you for your earlier comments. Appreciate that. Are new to the council and may not yet have had the opportunity to question the decisions that were made previously behind closed doors. But right now, here today, you do have the power to hit the pause button. You hold the responsibility to act not only with haste, but informed consent. Even last week, on January 15th, 2 members of the U.S. House of Representatives introduced into legislation a study to measure the true impacts of data centers and their disruptive impacts on communities because there is real risk. And the data we do have is very troubling. Areas with data centers have seen property values decline, utilities and water grids become strained, and they have seen the costs that are passed on to residents while only the corporations are reaping the benefits. Once again, the pattern looks all too familiar. Profits over people, secrecy over honesty. I'm asking you to choose a different path, though, today. To retract the secrecy of the old council and bring your community into the conversations about our land and its future use. I urge you to be on the right side of history, take a moment, reconsider, and re-engage, more importantly. Because once a decision like this is set into motion, it cannot be undone. It should be clear that when over 1,700 people today have spoken out and over 800 plus have signed a petition demanding transparency, that is not just noise, that is democracy in action. Please honor our voices while we ask you to halt this development and hit the pause button and share with the communities what findings you currently have on record regarding impact studies on the environment, health, taxes, property values, and the risks to our groundwater and watersheds, and disclosures to any previous agreed upon long-term safeguards that will be put into place first to protect our community now and in the future as well. And to my neighbors here tonight, to let you know our voices do matter. Let's stay engaged. Shame on us. Let's stay engaged, right? Let's be informed and insist that decisions about our land and health happen in the open and not behind closed doors. We ask you to make the decisions together, not as what's happened in the past, buried behind closed door meetings, non-disclosures, and small community announcements in newspapers. Our shared goal should not be to protect the industries and private interests, but to be protection for all of our community members. Thank you for your time today.
The 8th speaker I had down was Joe McGrath, and he expressed a deep concern about the mayor being a member of council, but also the executive director of the Port Authority. Let's listen to Joe McGrath.
Couple quick questions. Is the mayor a voting member of the council in Mount Orab?
Generally, council acts by the 6 council people.
Right.
If there's a tie, the mayor can break the tie.
So he can't be a voting member.
He can break a tie, yes.
And he's also on the Port Authority?
He's the
Or
executive.
a former Port Authority?
He's the executive director of the Port Authority.
That doesn't seem like a conflict to anybody else? No? Or just me? So it's kind of 2 sides against the middle there, right?
That's been the way it's been though since the Port Authority was set up.
Doesn't make it right. Yeah, I mean, so that is one of my issues. That seems a little bit like he's playing both sides against the middle, kind of. You know what I mean? Oh, this was my great idea. Well, obviously you're going to vote yes on it. Or if you're submitting it to the council, obviously your vote is probably going to be a yes vote, or you wouldn't submit it to the council, correct? So anybody that has to do with, you know what I mean, coming up with those ideas shouldn't be voting on those ideas. You should recuse yourself from anything that has to do with a vote about the Port Authority. Whether it comes to a tie or not, you should be recused. Because that's playing both sides against the middle.
He is not a voting member of the Port Authority.
But he can vote if there's a tie. Or he's a member of the Port Authority, but he can vote on council.
He is the executive director of the Port Authority.
Okay.
But he cannot vote in the Port Authority.
But he can vote on the council.
If there's a tie vote on council, he can break the tie.
Right.
Yes.
So you're working both sides against the middle there, I feel like. You know what I mean? The Port Authority wants it, and the council doesn't, and he's the deciding vote. Well, the Port Authority wins every time, or he wouldn't have presented it to the council to begin with. So that's one concern I had. I'm not sure of all the details. I'm not a great internet sleuth like a lot of these people out here are, because there's a lot of information going around now. Like I said, my name's Joe McGrath. A little bit about myself. I'm a Christian. I'm a husband, not technically, but as of my lifestyle. I've been with her for 20 years. We've lived together in Mount Orab for over 20 years. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a papaw. I'm a proud American, in that order. And, you know, there's a lot of good people in this town. Why I do have concerns about the mega center or mega property sites, what's going in there. I don't know any of the facts. We can't be told any of the facts yet, so no one really knows. But we all got a good feeling what's going on. Mount Orab doesn't want it. Mount Orab doesn't want a data center. Mount Orab doesn't want solar fields. Mount Orab, and you know, I'm speaking for myself here, but I think most people feel the same way. We don't want windmills. We don't want strip clubs. There's some things we just, as a community, don't want. That doesn't make it illegal. We just don't want it. One of my concerns is this little tiny spot right here in the middle of a small neighborhood. Even on this one, looks like they just scribbled the new zoning. But the maps are supposed to be updated, signed. The ones on your website are not. That keeps the public in the dark. Another question, what reasoning would you change the zoning in a small neighborhood and put a storage center right through the middle of it? That doesn't make sense. Why would the people want that? They didn't. It's already there now. Too late. Don't blame the business. Don't blame the landowners. Blame you guys. And while I know a lot of you are new, sorry, you're still part of the committee that gets blamed. So, you know, hopefully in the future things like that don't happen. But it's already happened, and it's happening all around us.
And the food pantry.
Right. There's also a food pantry right in the middle of town. And why I like the food pantry idea, it's not zoned for that. That's not a house of worship. That's a food pantry. Obvious. Probably the busiest spot in Mount Orab on Wednesdays at 6:30 in the morning. Right in the middle of a neighborhood. Doesn't make sense. You know, what reasoning goes in when we're looking at zoning? Just because a business wants to buy it, we're going to rezone it for them and let them have it? Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make community sense. Probably makes fiscal sense, but it doesn't make community sense. And while I don't pretend to speak for everybody, frankly, that's you guys' job, is to speak for all of us. You know, if something like that doesn't make sense, why let it go through? If you disagree with something on the council, let people know. Get us informed. You know, I don't know what all is covered under NDAs here, how many of them you signed, what's all secret. But every week during the summer, you have half the town in front of your hall out here. You can speak to us. We're people. We talk. We communicate. You know, there's no back and forth, it doesn't seem like, other than in this little room between the community and its leaders, and that needs to change. You know, I look at this map and I see it's drawn on there. It's supposed to be an updated, signed map by the mayor. It's probably worse than knowing and not liking. You mean? Not knowing is probably a lot worse. So I think more community engagement is the key to all this. And maybe it's too late for some of these projects. I don't know, you guys hired I'm not sure if this is fact, hired a lawyer from Miami Township. Time to change what he's doing and dig you out of this hole. You know, I don't know if it's too far in to get out of it, but I think we need to pause, we need to think about it. Take the community, not the businesses, not the money, the people into mind when you're making these decisions. It makes more sense. That's what makes a community. Not the industrial sites, not the, business districts. It's the people and the small businesses that make up this community, not the mega sites, not the industry, not the commercial sites. It's the people that make up this village. And you're supposed to represent the people, not the finances, not the industries, the people. And we don't feel like we're being represented. That's all I have to say.
So I want to apologize. In the middle of that Joe McGrath video, my camera reset. It records for an hour and then I have to hit go again. So you missed a couple of seconds there. But the ninth speaker was Blair Jones. And he was upset about people being out in the cold. And I think that was a valid thing to be upset about. It's absolutely ridiculous that they knew there was great interest in this meeting and did not make arrangements to have it in a place. I think a lot of the council members were embarrassed by that, and hopefully that will never happen again.
So, not to be redundant, considering that everything I had prepared has already been addressed today, I would like to just really hammer one thing through. We're going to keep showing up until we get answers. This room is not adequate, especially not during these temperatures. Pretend you care about the people of this town. Give them somewhere to come inside out of the cold. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
After that, there was more discussion, and the Christina Colgate talked some more, Angela Marlowe talked some more, and a couple of the council members were really, to me, standouts on speaking up. One was Zane Cordory, I think it is, and the other one was Eric Lang. So I appreciate their comments. I'm going to try to put in some of the things that they said here so that we can listen to them. So this is going to be a little montage after the main speaker part.
Yes. Would it be possible to propose working together with the council and also the community to try to put together a public meeting that can house more than what we have here tonight?
I don't think that should be an issue at all. I do want to say that I was one that was for moving the meeting because everyone has a voice in this community. And as far as NDAs go, I can't speak for my other council members.
Sure.
I signed it because the information was, if you don't sign it, then we can't tell you anything. So in my aspect, sitting here in meeting one was, well, if I don't know information, I can't help the people who helped put me into office.
Fair.
And that's why I'm here. I gain nothing from this other than I want to help our community. I do. I think that's why we're all here. So depending on what I hear moving forward with NDAs, and I have an idea for an NDA. I think moving forward, any businesses that are going to try to come to our town, until land is purchased, I can understand an NDA because they don't want people to know, their tricks of the trade. But once they sign the paper and it is done and it's their property, they need to let the people know. I am 100% behind doing that for NDAs moving forward.
Absolutely.
And I hope that it's not too late to cancel something if it is detrimental to our community. I live here as well, believe me. I don't want nothing else but to have something great for our community.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
As far as the location, I think I'm hopeful that everybody here at the table now has heard the concerns and seen the involvement. If there is any issue going forward, I believe was it 2 councilmen or more can call for a special meeting, right?
We can have special meetings. Yes.
So if it comes to something like that, I think we can probably make it happen. But I think give us some time. I think we'll be okay to do it.
Yeah, that's what's going to
if we can all talk.
That would be great.
Yeah, a town hall, what do they call that, discussion and ask, informal, because I realize this is a formal meeting, so it'd be nice to have something informal where we can ask questions and have a panel.
Okay.
And not have to sign up for a 10-minute slot.
If we can have some time to look into it, and then I'm telling you right now, if there's pushback on it, I'll be one of them. I assure you, I can get some other council members that'll be on board with it.
And fair enough.
But I don't think it'll have to come to that.
Yeah, and guys, fair enough. We're all for, and trust me, business owners alike, we are all for NDAs to protect our interests, right? Like, it would be detrimental if a competitor got out that information, right? It's not fair to them, and I respect that. However, what's being proposed is more than just an industry coming in. This is something that is truly impactful to the community. And full disclosure, and like I said earlier in my statement, shame on us. Shame on us for not getting involved, right? We all are busy, we all work, parents, sports, you name it, right? But I think that this matter is so much larger than just this issue at hand, that it needs good, dedicated time to dig in, to explore, and to explore what you guys can disclose at this point. And maybe not talk about who it is specifically, but talk about the actual impacts that it can have in the community. Because there's some real risk there. And it's not just our community. It's Wilmington, it's Columbus, it's even our Ohio State representatives that are truly taking pause and trying to put legislative measures together to say, hey guys, we have enough information to know that there's some concerns here, validated concerns, statistical evidence to support that.
And then finally, a guy that added himself to the list because he had not called 24 hours in advance to be on the list was Paul Riley. So Paul Riley got up and spoke about the need for transparency, and he did a great job really bringing home the key points of how do you be representatives of the people, but sign NDAs and keep stuff secret from the people.
You recused yourself from the the NDR, or the NDA, correct?
Yeah, correct, sir.
So can you confirm for us today whether this is a data center or not?
I have no clue. I know about
Okay.
as much as you know.
That's fair.
I
That's
have not
fair.
been briefed on anything.
That's fair. I understand.
Which is part of the reason I was able to do so.
So I've got to ask everybody here, what in the world do you guys think you're doing signing a non-disclosure agreement when you have no clue what's within that non-disclosure agreement? If I come to any one of you and offer you a lucrative business deal, but I can't tell you anything about it until after you sign a contract that boxes out your constituents, you should all tell me to go do something vulgar with myself, because that's what I would do. If I was presented at any level, whether it be private business or public record, if someone comes to me and asks me to box out the people that elected me, that trusted me to be in the seats that you're all sitting in, the answer is a hard no. We're not going to sign that until you can disclose some information. And if that means that we have to lose a multi-billion-dollar project coming into the county, then that's what it means. That's what it means. It means that you lose that contract. You're not going to get that unless you can be transparent with the public. We have the internet, we have social media, we have YouTube, we've got phone calls, we've got smoke signals, we got carrier pigeons. There is a way to get this information out to the public. There is a way to share this. And what y'all have done is you've all voted a vote of no confidence on yourself from the entire community, with the exception of you. I mean, good for you for getting out of it, but shame on you for signing it in the first place. You should have never signed it. You should have stood up for the people that voted for you and said, I can't do that. Everybody sitting here should have done the exact same thing. Until you can tell us what this is, give us some kind of clarity, because people are going to come after us. As an elected official, you should know the community will come after you if you do not provide transparency. We went after the commissioners when they shut down the jail. We went after the commissioners when they let the hospital close. You think for a second that you can let a multi-billion-dollar project come into the community and not tell anybody anything? I mean, while you signed an NDA and you may not know exactly what that project was, you did in fact know that there was something big coming to Mount Orab. That's why you signed an NDA. I will never ever believe that any of you sat there and didn't know anything, 100% nothing about what this was going on here when you signed that contract with those companies. While you may have not known the exact details, you knew something. That's why you've got a parking lot full of people out here mad at you. And that's all I've got to say about that.
What I wanted to point out too about this meeting is who wasn't here. Representative Adam Byrd wasn't here. State Senator Terry Johnson wasn't here. And Congressman David Taylor wasn't here. I know David Taylor was in town over the weekend. I don't know if he was today, but none of those three were here. Hopefully all three of them should show up at the January 27th meeting that I believe, hopefully I got the date right, of when they said they were going to have a meeting. And so that is the highlights of what happened at this meeting. So as we go out, I had the chance to kind of walk down the hallway and talk to people. So I'm just going to throw that in here because I think people were excited for the meeting. And I was very excited to see people getting involved in their local government. And man, I love it when people are demanding transparency. Why don't all of our elected officials get that their job is to be transparent with us, not secrecy? We didn't elect them to operate in secret from us. We elected them to engage us in the decision-making process.
If I do anything,
Nice to meet you. Hi there, nice to meet you guys. How you doing?
Let me name through and I'll tell you.
I'm just trying to get an idea of how many people were out in the parking lot.
There was probably like 150, 200, plus there's 700 people still on live stream.
Watching, I saw that because I was standing right next to Paul with his live stream, so I could see the count on there. So,
There's good stuff. It's just
now, were you guys in the hallway or outside?
We were outside. I was outside.
Were you freezing? Were you freezing your asses off?
Yeah. But I still waited. Gotcha.
All right, guys. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, brother.
Thank you, guys.
There should be a time.
Angela, how you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm okay. Well, nobody's out here. I'm trying to find out. I'm trying to figure out how many people were out in the parking lot.
What'd you think?
I thought that everybody gave good speeches. Everybody was on point. They were patient. They were, hey Jessica, they were friendly, cordial. You know, I'm from Union Township, so everything's very more staid. So I thought it was great. So I thought I always find that the kind of like smaller town council meetings are much more open than when you come to like Miami Township, Union Township, and Claremont County. I'm sure, yeah, because people know each other, you know, so they can't get too hacked off at each other because they still live together. But here they never hit any, time limits on. They really, I mean, they have a 10-minute time limit. So, did you see how many? I'm trying to get. How many people you think were in the parking lot?
I counted, maybe, I counted 85.
85 in the parking lot?
I'll see you some whatever, ladies. Yeah. That wasn't how what was out. 85 in the lot. I would say at least
See you guys.
40 in the hallway.
Thank you guys for coming.
Yeah.
Stay up to date.
Could you hear in the hallway?
No, we have
Okay.
to go home and watch it.
I could have brought, like, I have an AV system, like a very all wireless thing. They could just get like a speaker. They can go to Walmart, and for $120, they can get a speaker system that would light this place up,
My Bluetooth.
and everybody be able to hear.
No, and I left it on my table. Our cell phones wouldn't even hold service. And they would,
I couldn't get any service. I was trying to text somebody inside there.
everybody was watching it on their phone.
Yeah.
Because you couldn't hear everybody else.
So,
12 out there, channel 9, channel 5. Yeah, there was like 100 and something.
Yeah.
by the way, I gotta go, but I don't think it's legal for council members to sign NDAs.
Right now.
So they act confused about it, or they act like this. They're not. I don't think it's legal. Just so everybody knows, port authorities and CICs have other legal abilities to do things in secret. Now, whether they're right or wrong, I'm not saying, but that's where they can do stuff. But there's supposed to be a separation between the two things.
See my sign?
Yeah.
We need to get John Coolwez involved. He's running for attorney general.
By the way, you know who's not here? Who wasn't here tonight? Adam Berg, David Taylor, who has been in town. David Taylor has been in town, and Terry Johnson,
None of them.
the state senator. So
They will be invited to the town hall.
they should be there. They should. So
They won't.
They won't respond to me today that Ashford reached out to them and he said,
I can't.
my understanding is that David Taylor had a tour of the mega site at one point. So that's what somebody told me. Is that Congressman David Taylor? But then they said they didn't know what he might have been told or not told even. You know what I mean?
And then he took a picture of it while he was there.
So
Just got a call from Adam Bird's secretary. All she said was he knows and has been hearing about it. If any more concerns, call back anytime.
well, he should. The thing is, text her back or call her back. Make sure he shows up on whatever that date was, January 27th. So nice to meet you all.